All right, so we're in the middle of May here, 2026, and I'm here at the compound here on the south end of Broken Bow, technically Idabel, Oklahoma. And what I'm showing you here is my off-grid water system. Super excited about this off-grid water system. It's been a long time in the making. Rain is starting to come in, and it's prompted me to share with y'all about my off-grid water system. I think a lot of folks could probably benefit from this information. A lot of folks are kind of getting into this sort of thing these days, whether it's folks moving from the city and the suburbs out to a more rural area, small towns, that sort of thing. And whether you got well water, whether you got co-op city water and just want to have a backup option, or if, for example, in my case, this property of mine is really not far at all from the main highway that runs through town, and where there's actually a rural water line where if I wanted to, bend over and pay them their $10, $12, $15,000 and agree to do their DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality sanctioned, 4 or 5,000 additional dollars of septic system and that sort of thing, total, $20K. If I wanted to play their $20,000 game, I could get water, around the corner. But reality is I'm not doing that right now. Not doing that right now. So this is a little bit about my container home builds and off-grid water system. So of course this system starts with a roof. Got to have it's important to begin with a metal roof where you can probably see the ribs of the metal roof there and the underside of the metal roof. It's important to, assuming you're going to be, in contact with the water. I'm personally definitely not drinking this water. I am filtering it, and I'll get to that here in a few. Filtering it for my dogs. Have a I want to say it's a whole home 5-stage water filter, including UV, to kill off bacteria, pathogens, etc., etc. So still learning about some of this stuff, but all in all, this is the skeleton. Kind of this is my part one, phase one, if you will. Took a whole lot of research and poking around on YouTube, looking at other folks' designs and this, that, and the other. So I'll begin breaking this down here in just a few as far as how I went about this. And so, first and foremost, of course, starts with the roof to catch the water. You could Google this and check this out yourself. It's my understanding that a 1,000 square foot roof in a 1-inch rain, which is like a badass rain for probably a good hour or two, right? A 1-inch rain, 1,000 square foot roof will harvest and allow you to capture, assuming you got good gutters and good funnel down and stuff like that. There's some variables and some opportunity for loss, et cetera, but all in all, 1,000 square foot roof, 1-inch rain can capture 500 to 600 gallons of water, which is 1 to 2 of those totes full. And so I want to say in my part of southeastern Oklahoma, we're probably looking at like 40 to 50 inches of rain a year at least. And so just, super rough ballpark math, if I'm looking at 800 square foot of roof, which is 20 by 40 or so, in a 1-inch rain, call it 400 gallons times 50, 20,000 gallons of water potential, if I have my numbers right there. So totally sufficient amount of water for myself and 2 dogs, probably even sufficient for a small family if you're conservative and conscious with your water usage and stuff like that. And so just a regular gutter, just a regular gutter, regular roof, regular metal, ag panel roof, regular gutter. And then some folks will recognize this piece here. So this piece I've got strapped up underneath the bottom of the gutter. And, it's a little bit bigger than the initial downspout. The metal part, the metal oval that comes through there. And so I've strapped it together with plumber's tape and then converted that or led that down with, I want to say that's 4-inch PVC drain pipe with a little bit of an elbow, another piece of 4-inch right there, another elbow, just secured it like that. And I mean, you can tell it's getting windy, rain's about to be coming in, and I'll show you the rain being captured here in just a few, but nonetheless got 4-inch drain pipe here. And then you could purchase this piece. Before long, I'll start assembling links to some of this stuff that you could probably purchase on Amazon. You can purchase this piece at most any local hardware store, along with these, elbows and different sizes of PVC. You can purchase at virtually any hardware store, et cetera, et cetera. Starting to feel the rain sprinkle here. And so, again, got this secured up just loosely, if you will, but it's sufficient for the amount of weight and the water that runs through it. And so then this next piece here is called a leaf eater. You can definitely get that on Amazon. Just type in leaf eater rain harvesting. And then it comes with a couple different sizes of adapters, right? And then I've run it into 3-inch PVC. So then 3-inch PVC, this is my overflow. And so essentially, water is going to come down here. This is what's called the first flush. And now this is not technically as sophisticated as some folks' first flush system, because, a lot of folks with their first flush system have some sort of ball in there such that when the, first amount of rain comes, let's say there's, miscellaneous dust, miscellaneous debris on top of the roof, a couple bird droppings, et cetera, what the first flush is supposed to do is allow water to come down, the dirty water come down there, and then eventually, water is going to fill up there and then come down your system here. And so what I've decided to do is actually fill up the totes from the bottom up. Initially, when I was kind of starting the system and just learning and playing with it, I did route this to the top of the tote, and I realized that pretty quickly if I was going to link multiple totes together for a larger, more capable system, it was just harder to get a tight seal with any type of fitting at the top of these containers. And I really did not want to drill in or punch holes with hole saws into, the sides of the containers and things like that. And so here I'll continue. So, obviously water comes down there. It's screened there at the leaf eater. And then it, first flush, a little bit of dirty water there, perhaps, if any. Realistically, if a lot of folks might not have the first flush, and that's probably okay. Water's going to come down here. I have a ball valve here to allow me to empty and drain the containers. Actually, I have ball valves on both ends, so I can drain it on either end if I wanted or needed, whether it's to just let the water out or to remove a tote and clean a tote, things like that. And so what I've done here is I probably, if I were to do this again, I wouldn't have used so many unions. This this run is really not under pressure, with the exception of just like static pressure of water setting there. It's not under pressure, so the unions I don't think are much harm, but the unions are an opportunity for a little bit of air to come in, possibly. And so, here what I've done is, let's see, this was my first cam lock fitting, and so that's kind of the next piece to the equation. You can purchase these on Amazon, called IBC Tote Cam Lock, CAM lock fittings, and they adapt to, what are these called? Just like male, I want to say these are female PVC. I want to say this is like 3/4 inch or whatnot, ball valve here. I like the idea of ball valves in front of each tote to isolate the totes and things like that. These cam lock fittings are easily removable. I've had good experience with them being pretty watertight. You can see, in fact, open, no leaks. I wouldn't do this one again. I would be in the 3/4 inch size. What I would do is, and what I'm going to do, is eventually convert all of them to this. Not sure exactly, again, what this is called, but initially I actually had a tiny bit of a drip, just a super small drip coming at the back of this cam lock fitting. So not the fault of like this piece, but perhaps the cam lock fitting. I'm actually thinking that, again, these IBC totes are like used IBC totes, food grade. You want to make sure to purchase these, as best as you can, clean, minimally used, food grade containers. And I want to say the end of like where this cam lock would fit was just boogered up a little bit, but ultimately, I just left it and it's not dripping anymore. So I think it kind of sealed itself somehow. I was going to put some Teflon tape around it, that sort of thing, but it kind of ended up sealing itself. And so nonetheless, how this system works, whether it's one tote or 2, 3, or 4, eventually I'll get, this one patched in, this one patched in. It's a process. I got tons of projects from a 67 C10, 67 Coupe de Ville, this 92 Moomba boat, 2000 K 2500 container home build, another house up here in Broken Bow that I'm building and flipping, and probably forgetting a handful of other projects. But nonetheless, where I was going with that is, I would recommend for a system like this to use this size cam lock fitting. Again, here before long, I'll start rounding up the links and post the links on YouTube and stuff like that. Got this piece at my local plumbing supply store, BMAC here in Idabel, along with this piece. Fits to this, a little bit of PVC here, glued in to connect to the ball valve here, and so on and so forth. And then so one thing that I'll do here before long is I'll raise my overflow a little bit. I just wanted to be cautious and err on the side of caution and kind of mock stuff up, and that's why I've not covered up the PVC and stuff like that. But I'll raise the overflow, and so the concept is that as soon as water gets to this point or so, it'll overflow out here. And so I've purchased a screen there that you can put in the PVC, and it's starting to come down now. So we'll demonstrate this rain catch. And so, got the valve open here to a filter that I bought at Tractor Supply, to a Harbor Freight pump, Drummond 1 horsepower pump, leading it to a compression tank, leading it to the whole home water filter, to my outdoor shower, to my faucet, and will eventually run it into my shipping container home here. And so this is all just temporary. Eventually I plan to get water from the co-op and things like that, and maybe do a well, but really this was just for learning sake and having fun. So here's what we're up to, and man, it's gonna start coming down pretty quickly. And here you can see water actually being captured. And so, you know, of course, there's a couple adjustments to make. You can already tell, you know, I need to work on the angle of this just a little bit. So, oh. Got some things to work on, but it's capturing a lot of water. It's capturing a lot of water. You know, a light rain, you know, what I need to do is shorten that and maybe notch out the bottom. But, you know, honestly, I just set this up within the past month, and I've just been kind of tweaking it and playing with it here and there. But nonetheless, this is my rain harvesting off-grid water system. So I'll show y'all as well that without the pump running, and I'll explain more, perhaps do a part 2 and part 3 later, without the pump running, because of the compression tank, and it's not totally full. You know, you can see the system's here at 25 PSI. No pump. Got good water. Totally off grid. And so just wanted to share that with y'all. Not only are we going to be doing hot rods and aviation stuff on this channel, but some DIY and miscellaneous construction stuff, building stuff here and there, just miscellaneous projects. So hope this was insightful. Hope this was helpful. We'll do a part 2 and so on and so forth as I continue to improve the system. So see y'all around.